Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. We live in a world where love is a word used casually, written in text, sung in songs, flashed in movies. But tonight I invite you to listen beyond the noise and to hear something deeper. I invite you to hear the heart's voice, because only there, in its raw truth, do we discover what love truly means. Love is not just a feeling, it's a commitment. It's not only the flutter in your chest or the smile in someone's eyes. True love reveals itself when things are not perfect, when life is messy, and still someone chooses to stay. Love is not always grand. It is found in the quiet moments when someone remembers how you like your coffee, when they hold your hand in silence, or simply sit with you through your darkest hours without needing to fix you. It is in the courage to be vulnerable, to show your flaws, your fears, your wounds, and still be embraced. Love listens when words are hard to find. It forgives when egos would rather walk away. It is not selfish. It lifts, heals, and gives without keeping score. And most importantly, love begins not in the arms of another, but in the acceptance of oneself. Until we listen to our own heart's voice, we cannot truly share it with someone else. So what does love truly mean? It means choosing someone over and over, even when it's hard. It means being seen, known, and still deeply accepted. It means showing up, not just when it's easy, but especially when it's not. In a world desperate for connection, may we all dare to love, not perfectly, but honestly. Love is a commitment, not just a feeling. It shows up even when emotions fade or challenges arise. Love is found in small everyday moments. It's in the quiet acts of care and presence, not just grand gestures. True love requires vulnerability. It's about being real, open, and accepted, flaws and all. Love forgives and endures. It doesn't keep score or give up when things get tough. Self-love comes first. We must know and accept ourselves before we can love others fully. Love is a daily choice. It's a conscious decision to show up, support, and stay every day. When most people talk about love, they often describe the butterflies in their stomach, the excitement of being around someone, or the rush of emotion that floods their heart. And while those feelings are real and beautiful, they are only the surface of what love truly is. Real love, the kind that lasts, the kind that matters, is not rooted in fleeting emotion. It is built on commitment. Feelings, by their very nature, rise and fall. They are influenced by our mood, by the stress of our day, by hormones, by misunderstandings, by time. If love were only a feeling, it would vanish the moment things got hard. But commitment, that's something deeper. Commitment is the choice to stay, even when it's easier to leave. It is the decision to continue loving, even when you don't feel particularly lovable or loving. Think about it. In any long-term relationship, whether it's romantic, familial, or platonic, there will be moments of disagreement, discomfort, and even distance. In those times, love doesn't shout with emotion. It whispers with loyalty. Commitment is the glue that holds people together when emotions falter. It's waking up and saying, I choose you today, even when it would be easier to withdraw, blame, or shut down. This kind of love doesn't wait for the perfect moment. It creates it. It doesn't depend on everything going right. It endures even when things go wrong. And it requires a sense of maturity to recognize that love isn't about how someone makes you feel, but about how you show up for them again and again. When two people commit to love, they are agreeing to walk through life hand in hand, through the storms and sunshine alike. They are saying, even when I don't feel it, I will still act in love. I will still respect, care, listen, support, and forgive. It is in this space where emotion meets responsibility that true love is born. That's what separates real love from infatuation or desire. Infatuation asks, what do I get from this? Love rooted in commitment asks, what can I give to this? We often grow up with stories and media that teach us love is something grand, a sweeping gesture, a once-in-a-lifetime moment, or an epic declaration under the stars. But in truth, love doesn't live in the loud cinematic moments. Real love reveals itself quietly, in the tiny, almost invisible details of everyday life. Love is found in the way someone remembers your favorite song and plays it when you're having a bad day. It's in the cup of coffee waiting for you in the morning, made just the way you like it. It's in the gentle reminder to take your medication, the soft hand on your back when you're overwhelmed, or the way someone listens, really listens when you're speaking, even if you're not making much sense. These small acts may not seem like much on the surface, but together they form the foundation of something strong and lasting. Because love isn't about impressing someone, it's about knowing them, seeing them, and choosing to show up in meaningful ways day after day. It's in consistency, in the everyday choices to care, to check in, to notice the things that others overlook. These little things might go unnoticed by the world, but to the person receiving them, they can mean everything. They say, I see you, I think about you, I care enough to remember, and in those quiet affirmations, trust is built, safety is built, a life together is built. It's easy to say I love you once in a while, but to demonstrate it in actions, in patience, in the mundane moments, that's where love becomes real. It's folding laundry together. It's watching a movie you don't really like, just because it matters to the other person. It's texting, did you eat, or get home safe, without any expectation of praise in return. What many people fail to realize is that love isn't just felt during romantic dates or milestones, it's also in washing the dishes so your partner can rest. It's in leaving a note before work. It's in staying by someone's side when they're sick, tired, or emotionally unavailable. It's in the way someone reaches for your hand, instinctively, as if saying, I'm here, I choose you, even in the ordinary. In fact, it's the ordinary that reveals the extraordinary in love. Anyone can show up when it's convenient, or when emotions are high, but those who continue to show love through repetition, through quiet effort, and through the rhythm of daily life, those are the ones who truly understand what love means. Love doesn't need to shout to be heard. Often it's whispered in the silence, tucked inside a gesture, a glance, or a moment shared between two people who've chosen to keep showing up. At its core, love is not about wearing masks or putting on a perfect front. True love begins where vulnerability begins, when we allow ourselves to be seen, not just in our strengths, but also in our fears, flaws, insecurities, and imperfections. It is in this raw openness, this emotional honesty, that the deepest kind of connection is formed. Vulnerability is the willingness to say, this is who I am, I'm not perfect, I carry wounds, doubts, baggage, but I still want to be loved, and I want to love you the best I can. That level of honesty is terrifying for many, because it opens the door to rejection. And rejection of your most authentic self can hurt far more than rejection of a persona you wear for the world. But without vulnerability, love remains shallow. It becomes a performance, a transaction, a surface-level exchange of pleasantries and expectations. It may look good on the outside, but inside, it's brittle. The truth is, we cannot claim to be loved if we are constantly hiding the parts of ourselves that we think are unlovable. Real love invites us to step out from behind the emotional armor. It says, show me your truth, and I will not turn away. And when that invitation is accepted, when we let someone see the parts of us that we usually hide, something sacred happens. That's where intimacy is born, not just physical intimacy, but emotional closeness that cannot be manufactured or faked. It takes courage to be vulnerable. It takes strength to say, I'm struggling, or I'm afraid you'll stop loving me if you really knew what I've been through. And it takes even more strength to sit with someone else's vulnerability without trying to fix it or dismiss it. But this is where love becomes transformative. When two people are willing to be fully known and still choose to stand by each other, that is not just love, that is brave love. In fact, vulnerability is not a weakness in love. It is the proof of love. You cannot be deeply connected to someone unless you are willing to risk being emotionally naked in front of them. And while there is always risk, the reward is immeasurable. Because the moment you allow someone to see the real you, and they still choose you, that is when you know the love is genuine. Vulnerability also invites trust, the bedrock of any lasting relationship. It says, I trust you with the parts of me I don't show anyone else. And when that trust is honored, it creates a bond that is nearly unbreakable. It allows space for healing, for growth, and for a kind of emotional freedom that people spend their whole lives searching for. We must understand that love is not about being perfect for someone. It's about being honest with someone, and still being held with care. It's about being able to say, I'm not okay today, and not being judged for it. It's crying in front of them without feeling embarrassed. It's admitting when you're wrong, and knowing that doing so won't cost you their love. Only when we show who we really are can we truly feel loved, not for the version we pretend to be, but for who we are at our core. And isn't that what we all truly long for? To be loved not in spite of our vulnerabilities, but because of them. No relationship, no matter how deep, pure, or passionate, is free from conflict, misunderstanding, or hurt. When two imperfect people choose to walk through life together, there will inevitably be moments when words are said that shouldn't have been, when emotions flare, when expectations clash, and when one person disappoints the other. But love, true love, does not give up in those moments. It does not crumble at the first sign of difficulty. Love forgives and love endures. Forgiveness is not about pretending that nothing happened. It's not about denying the pain or invalidating the experience. Instead, forgiveness in love is about choosing to see the person beyond their mistake.
It is about recognizing that the relationship matters more than being right, and that holding on to anger or resentment only builds walls where there should be bridges. To forgive someone you love is not to excuse harmful behavior, but to create space for growth, accountability, and restoration. It's saying, "You hurt me, but I still believe in you. I still choose this bond. Let's heal together." It's a conscious decision to move forward, not by forgetting what happened, but by refusing to let it define the relationship or poison its future. Endurance, on the other hand, is love's ability to stay, especially when it's not easy to do so. It's the willingness to weather the storms, to hold on when circumstances are difficult, and to remain present when everything around you says, "This would be easier if you just left." Endurance is what sustains love beyond the honeymoon phase, beyond the idealized fantasy, and into the complex, unpredictable rhythm of real life. There will be seasons in any relationship where one person feels distant, or burdened, or lost in their own struggle. There will be times when routines become exhausting, and conversations become repetitive. There will be moments of silence, frustration, or disconnect, but enduring love chooses to stay connected, to keep showing up, and to keep trying day after day. And just as endurance is necessary, so is grace. Love that endures understands that both people are still learning how to love better, how to communicate, how to hold space for each other's differences and wounds. It doesn't demand perfection, but it does ask for effort. It says we may not have it all figured out, but we're in this together. When love forgives, it releases the weight of the past to make room for a better future. When love endures, it withstands the storms to enjoy the beauty that follows. The combination of the two is what turns ordinary relationships into extraordinary ones, not because they are flawless, but because they are resilient. Some people believe that walking away at the first sign of trouble is strength. But in many cases, the real strength lies in staying, in listening, in working through the pain, in rebuilding trust, even when it's been broken, in believing that the bond is worth the effort it takes to repair it. In a culture that often promotes disposability, where relationships are abandoned as soon as they become inconvenient, choosing to forgive and endure is an act of rebellion. It's choosing love over ego, connection over control, and healing over hurt. It's often said that you cannot truly love someone else until you learn to love yourself. While that might sound cliché, the truth it holds is deep and transformative. Self-love is the foundation of all other love. It is the root from which all healthy, meaningful relationships grow. Without it, love given to others can become laced with insecurity, dependency, fear, or a need for validation that no partner, no matter how kind or loving, can ever truly satisfy. To love yourself is not about arrogance or selfishness. It's not about thinking you are better than others, nor is it about being self-absorbed. True self-love is quiet and steady. It is the ability to look in the mirror and accept who you are, not just the parts that are easy to love, but also the ones you hide, the ones you struggle with, the ones that have been bruised by life. When you love yourself, you begin to treat yourself with compassion, respect, and patience. You learn to set boundaries, not to push others away, but to protect your peace. You begin to understand your own needs, your triggers, your values, and most importantly, you stop relying on others to complete you or to fix the parts of you that are still healing. People often enter relationships hoping that another person will fill the empty spaces inside them. They expect love from someone else to give them a sense of worth, to make them feel whole, but this is not sustainable. When you don't love yourself, you may cling too tightly, always fearing abandonment. You may tolerate mistreatment, believing you don't deserve better, or you may sabotage good love because deep down you don't feel worthy of it. On the other hand, when you have a solid sense of self-love, you no longer need love from others to feel valid. You choose it because you are whole, not because you are empty. You're able to give love freely, not out of fear or need, but from a place of abundance. You recognize your own value, so you no longer chase those who do not see it. Self-love teaches you to walk away from relationships that hurt more than they heal. It helps you recognize red flags and avoid repeating destructive patterns. It teaches you that you deserve kindness, not just from others, but from yourself. And perhaps most importantly, it teaches you that being alone doesn't mean you are unlovable. It means you are waiting for a connection that honors your worth. When both people in a relationship practice self-love, something powerful happens. Interdependence replaces codependence. Each person brings their full, authentic self into the relationship without expecting the other to carry their emotional weight. There is balance, freedom, and trust, not born from need, but from mutual respect and shared growth. Self-love is not a destination, it is a lifelong practice. It's in the way you speak to yourself in your mind. It's in the habits you create, the boundaries you set, the way you respond to failure or pain. It is in choosing to care for your mental, emotional, and physical well-being, not out of vanity, but out of reverence for the life you've been given. No one can do this work for you. No partner, no friend, no amount of external love can substitute for the deep inner acceptance of your own soul. When you cultivate self-love, you change the way you experience every other kind of love, because now you're not loving from a place of desperation, but from a place of deep knowing, I am enough, exactly as I am. Love at its truest and deepest is not something that simply happens to us. It's not just something we fall into and out of, as if we are powerless to its gravity. Love is not a one-time declaration or a milestone to be checked off. Rather, love is a daily deliberate choice, an ongoing commitment that must be renewed over and over, often quietly and without applause. In the early stages of love, everything feels effortless. There's a natural excitement, a magnetic pull, a chemistry that seems to do all the work. But as time passes, as routines settle in and life becomes layered with responsibilities, stresses, and personal growth, the emotional high fades, and love begins to ask more of us. This is where the real work begins, choosing love when it's not easy. It's choosing to speak kindly, even when you're tired and frustrated. It's choosing to listen when you'd rather retreat into silence. It's choosing to forgive, to reach out, to stay present, even when pride, ego, or pain urges you to shut down. These are not grand romantic gestures. They are small, intentional acts, the ones that often go unseen, but mean everything. Choosing love daily means seeing your partner or loved one through changing seasons, through different versions of themselves. People evolve, circumstances shift, challenges